One hard shoulder in late May tried to silence her. A strained quad, 5 missed games, and a river of, "What if she's rushing back?" Headlines should have slowed Caitlin Clark down. Instead, the league's most scrutinized rookie used 3 weeks in street clothes to sharpen the dagger she unveiled on June 14th. When the lights flicked on inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, Clark strolled out, stared down the undefeated New York Liberty, and detonated a performance that felt less like a comeback and more like an announcement. 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 7 deep threes, and one 102-88 upset later. The WNBA's title picture had a brand new crack running through it. Rewind 21 days. The Liberty's bruising defense had muscled Clark off her rhythm, and a botched no-call left her clutching the front of her thigh. Medical reports labeled it a grade 1 quad strain. Nothing catastrophic, but exactly the kind of injury that steals a shooter's lift and a driver's first step. Indiana dropped 3 of the next 5 games without her, looking like a Ferrari locked in first gear. Meanwhile, New York plowed to 9-0. Social media heralded another wire-to-wire championship run, and even neutral fans started wondering if Clark's rookie ride had finally hit a predictable wall. Predictable, however, has never lived in Clark's vocabulary. Sunrise to sundown, she attacked rehab like it was a playoff series. Ice baths, resistance band lunges, endless treadmill intervals, and long nights dissecting Liberty film until the HDMI glow was the only light in the room. Reporters kept fishing for a return date, and she kept repeating the same line. "If I'm not 100%, I'm not suiting up." Teammates whispered that she'd circled June 14th in red Sharpie, the moment trainers cleared her for non-contact drills. Revenge stories write themselves. Clark just provided the handwriting. Game day hit like a pop star tour stop. Hong Kong supporters flew 22 hours and hoisted homemade logo range banners behind the visitors' bench. ABC's pregame tease clocked 2.22 million viewers waiting for tip, the network's second highest W audience ever. On the other end of the floor, Brianna Stewart flicked half-speed warm-up jumpers, and Sabrina Ionescu's hot mic joke, "Hope the kid remembers where the three-point line is," filtered across courtside cell phones. The scene had all the ingredients: undefeated champs, returning phenom, national spotlight thirsting for fireworks. Fireworks arrived sooner than anyone was ready for. Midway through the first quarter, Clark danced over half court, glanced at the shot clock, and let a 34-footer fly as casually as a free throw. Net. 2 possessions later, she stepped into a 28-footer off a high screen. Net again. The Liberty bench rose, half in disbelief, half in silent plea for somebody, anybody, to pick her up earlier. Before they could talk it out, Clark dribbled across the logo, jabbed once, and lofted a 31-foot rainbow that zipped through twine without grazing iron. 3 orbit-high threes in 38 seconds. Stewart's face morphed from smirk to respectful grin. Head coach Sandy Brondello pressed a hand to her forehead as if searching for an answer printed on her visor. The crowd's roar bounced off the rafters so long officials delayed the inbound. Momentum didn't just swing. It did a somersault. Liberty defenders extended to half court, leaving gaps that Clark exploited with laser skips to Kelsey Mitchell and pocket passes to Aaliyah Boston. By halftime, she had 19, 5, 5, and Indiana led by 11. Viewers at home spammed praise hand emojis, while analytics accounts pointed out Clark had already tied her own career high in threes. Social platforms melted. Proof that the rust everyone feared had turned out to be rocket fuel. Clark's gravity had stretched their defense so thin that any 2-pass sequence produced a clean look. By the final break, Indiana's assist tally sat at 19 on 27 makes, and the home bench buzzed with a kind of "we can actually do this" disbelief. The Liberty made their inevitable push, slicing the gap to 6 early in the fourth behind Stewart's mid-post fadeaways and Maureen Johannes's sudden flamethrower cameo. Coach Stephanie White yanked Clark for a breather, and everyone braced for the run. Instead, the Fever expanded the lead. Mitchell buried a left-wing 3. Sophie Cunningham, fresh off her own ankle rehab, drew a charge on Stewart. Veteran Sidney Colson threaded a bounce pass that became a Boston reverse. When Clark re-entered with 5 minutes left, the scoreboard read, Indiana by 9, and the building trembled. She rewarded the trust with a dagger, crossover, step back from 26 feet, nothing but nylon. Stewart shook her head. The run was over. Stat sheets rarely capture theater, but this one came close. 32 points on 55% shooting, 7 triples on 14 attempts, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, just 2 turnovers in 31 minutes. Beyond the raw numbers, there were the context stats that bend eyebrows. She became the fastest player in league history to record 3 games of 30-plus points, 5-plus assists, 5-plus boards, within her first 2 seasons, passing Candace Parker's previous pace. Her 7 threes matched a personal best and tied the franchise record. And Indiana's 17 made triples set a new club high while handing the Liberty their first 100-point defensive concession of the season. All of it from a player who, hours earlier, fielded questions about minutes limits and lingering soreness. Yet Clark's brilliance wasn't a solo act. Mitchell's 22 arrived, precisely when needed, 10 in the closing period to snuff New York's last gasp. Boston posted a bruising 10-point, 11-rebound double-double while chasing Jonquil Jones. Cunningham, in only her second game back, finished a staggering plus 31, hitting the deck for loose balls like the season depended on each possession. Hull chipped in 14 on 3-for-4 deep shooting, and Colson's wily veteran calm birthed 6 assists and 0 panic. For the first time all year, Indiana looked less like a rising curiosity and more like a legitimate 5-headed hydra. The ripple effects rolled out instantly. The Liberty's flawless record shattered, and the Commissioner's Cup standings flipped overnight, catapulting Indiana to the East lead. TV executives exhaled. Ratings had cratered more than 50% during Clark's absence. Saturday's surge proved the magnet still worked. Meanwhile, officiating chatter reignited. The same crew that swallowed whistles on May 24th watched Clark torch them on national TV, and fans plastered threads with side-by-side clips. One where she hobbles off, another where she buries a 34-footer in their faces. The league office can ignore style points, but it can't ignore a narrative that its biggest star needed revenge to get a fair shake. Where does the road bend now? The Fever, suddenly 6'6", own tiebreakers against the champs and carry an unbeaten vibe heading into a softer stretch. The Liberty, still stacked, now carry the first bruise on their armor. And a July 12th rematch circled in Barclays Center red ink. Coaches around the league will spend sleepless nights plotting new perimeter traps. Clark will counter by testing ever deeper range. The larger question lingers. Can one player sustain this gravitational pull without wearing down? Her rehab sprint suggests yes. WNBA history warns that nightly bullseyes take a toll. What's undeniable is that the balance of power no longer feels predetermined. Not when the rookie detonates undefeated streaks on command. As the postgame swarm ebbed, a reporter mentioned 5 superfans who flew from Hong Kong just to witness her return. Clark's smile stretched wider than the stat graphic behind her. "That's the reach of this game," she said, promising to visit someday. It was a small moment, but telling. Because Saturday night wasn't merely a basketball exhibition. It was proof that a sport many labeled niche can fill airtime, pack arenas, and send shockwaves 8,000 miles away, provided the right player lights the fuse. And so the ledger shifts. The Liberty are mortal. The Fever have found their voice. The league's spotlight, dimmed during 3 Clarkless weeks, blazes again. Whether you're cheering or rooting for the collapse, one fact refuses to change. Whenever Caitlin Clark steps across midcourt, you look up, just to see if the next shot might scrape the rafters. The quad healed, the range expanded, and the WNBA's most crucial storyline just roared back to life. One logo 3 at a time.